What exactly is executive coaching?
Enable people to live their best professional and personal life.
Executive coaching is only for senior leadership. Is it true?
But actually, you've got to take a step back and look at the human being. Why is someone behaving in that way? My drive, my purpose, and I write my purpose down every day. When I went to a Tony Robbins event, is ask a better question, get a better answer.
So how do I know that I'm ready to get coached now?
Because typically when we're comfortable, we don't act.
If you are so smart, why you are not happy?
How do you want to be living your life in
Right.
5 years or 10 years' time?
You have a famous 7P formula. Tell me one technique which anybody can follow from today.
Just dream.
Yeah.
Dream and write all your goals down, everything you want to achieve in your life. We can achieve so much more than we think we can. Don't give me time as an excuse.
That's still better than 0% when people don't write it. How do you convince someone to get executive coaching? Hi Neil, welcome to Behind the Glass Door podcast.
Thank you, Shashan. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an absolute pleasure.
So you are an executive coach and I want to start from basic. What exactly is executive coaching?
That's a really good question. It's a very broad answer because executive coaching, to be honest, is whatever the person needs it to be. Where executive coaching typically fits in is in helping executives or business owners, business leaders overcome some of the obstacles that they might not realize are there, or they might realize are there. So they might be conscious or unconscious obstacles.
Right.
And for a number of reasons, it might be they're moving into a bigger role and they want to develop in that to be ready for that role. It might be they're in the role and they need to develop skills in that role or develop themselves in that role.
Right.
It might be that someone said, you know, you've got a bit of a blind spot here. Maybe a coach could help you.
Right.
And so it varies from large organizations that bring people in to help their senior leaders.
Right.
And I work with a couple of big organizations helping their senior leaders. Or, and very differently, helping business owners
Right.
who have built their companies up from scratch.
Right.
And now they've got management responsibility. They've got a team below them. And they find that they're at the center of the business and the business can't run without them.
Right.
And they need a coach stroke mentor to help them get their team to take over running the business so they can sit on the outside of the business looking in.
Right.
So, yeah, executive coaching varies depending on who brings it. And then the other part of executive coaching is career coaching. So very regularly I'll be brought in because someone's looking for the next role in their organization or they're looking for the next role outside their organization.
Right.
Or they're looking to do something completely different with their life, like set up their own business or go independent or travel or whatever. So a coach will help through those life and career transitions.
Right. So both executive coaching and life coaching is kind of interlinked, right?
Yeah, because we're human beings.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't separate the two, but there are different skill sets. So you can't, in my view, you can't coach someone without coaching the human being. So you might be coaching leadership skills. That might be why you've been brought in, or coaching people skills. But actually, you've got to take a step back and look at the human being. Why is someone behaving in that way? What beliefs, what's got them to that point? And what's going on in their whole life, not just in that professional life.
That makes so much sense. I mean, one of the saying which I keep saying on every podcast is people do business with people. So it's fundamentally person who are they are dealing with. There is a perception though that executive coaching is only for senior leadership. Is it true?
No. Coaching. So let's take the executive word out of it for a second. Coaching is absolutely for everyone. And because we've all got blind spots, we've all got beliefs that are holding us back, we've all got fears, imposter syndrome, and a coach helps you through all of those things that are stopping you getting to the next level. You know, my drive, my purpose, and I write my purpose down every day, is to enable people to live their best professional and personal life, to live to their full potential. And it happened to me. You know, a transformation for me happened in 2007 when I went to a Tony Robbins event.
Right.
So Tony Robbins, you know, the American guru. You know, I'm amazed how many people haven't heard of him, but he is a transformational guy.
Yeah.
And I went to one of his events, and I had some limiting beliefs in my career that were holding me back from getting to more senior levels.
Okay.
And I went to this event, and through he does group coaching, masses, thousands of people, but it's still coaching. And through the methodologies, the techniques, I just broke through these limiting beliefs I had.
Right.
And it was like a weight off my shoulders that then accelerated my career as a result.
That's so interesting. I mean, you mentioned Tony Robbins. We haven't spoke about it when we met first. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. I mean, all my leadership skill or all my ambitions in life started with his book. I think the first book, Awaken the Giant Within. That was the one I remember back in India. I bought like second copy. We used to get it because the first one was not available. So got a second one, read that book and was so fascinated. So glad to know that you've been through that journey.
Oh, I'm a Tony Robbins disciple, to be honest. Right. So I've been to 2 of his events. I've listened to every single cassette or CD he ever produced in the 90s and the early 2000s. In fact, on the way over here, I was listening to a Tony Robbins playlist that he plays because it raises your energy levels. And so, but you know, he's a good example of that. By asking certain questions and getting you to think in certain ways, that helps you see things in a different way. You know, his phrase is ask a better question, get a better answer. And it's so true. And that's one of the things a coach has to do, or even in the sales world as well, is if you ask a more powerful question, rather how can I, rather than why has this happened to me, ask a more powerful question, you're going to get a more powerful answer.
That's wonderful. And you have transformed so many lives, right? Through your coaching, through your podcasting. We'll come to that soon. Tell me one example, if you can share, which is with you for a long time.
Yeah, there are so many wonderful things that happen when you are a coach or a speaker, mentor. And what you don't realize is how you've transformed people's lives until they tell you.
True.
So, you know, I had an example a little while ago of someone who wrote to me and said, Neil, you don't know this, but you said something to me 10 years ago that took me on a different path, and I've now just sold my business. Wow. And that was because of that conversation I had with you.
Yeah.
And the other day I was coaching an executive in a large organization he's a VP of a division.
Right.
And I've coached him for quite a few years now. Every month we do a coaching session. And he said, look, I just want to share something with you. I've been selected for the senior exec panel, you know, to be part of the senior exec selection team, to be a senior vice president. And he was one of out of 3 people who were on the selection board. He was the only one selected.
Right.
And he said to me, at the end, they asked me what got me to this point. And he said, the coaching with Neil. And
it's so rewarding, right?
I mean, I'm getting tingles on the back of my neck just thinking about it. You know, there was a guy I've been working with over the last 9 months, just stopped working with him now because he's where he needs to be. And he was on the board of one of the large telecoms companies.
Right.
So a very senior role.
Yeah.
Took me on because he was thinking, you know, should I now move on and leave, just in his 50s, or should I stay and till my pension? Yeah. And through the coaching, we got to the point where he made a decision. Actually, now's the time for him, for his family, to leave corporate life.
Right.
And he wanted to get into buying small businesses in the area he lives in.
Yeah.
And running small businesses, not being in the business, but just owning them.
Right.
And it was a transformation in his life completely, because he was away from home 5 days a week in his corporate job. And now he's at home every day. So he's transformed his life. He spends time doing the things he loves. And he's really excited about the business he's building as well. So that's, those are great examples that I can think of.
And I know you work with a lot of organization as well, right? Is there any example you want to share which you help not just a person who is in charge of that organization, but you have seen impact on the business as well?
That's a good question. I think I can think of a couple of examples. So in the corporate setting, and you'll know this from the corporate world.
Yeah.
So in a division, there is, and in any corporate, there's a lot of pressure on the 13-week cycle.
Yeah.
And certain leaders handle that pressure in different ways. And in this one organization I was working with, there's the general manager, the MD of the division.
Right.
And then below that is a board. And I was working with the division of one of the guy who was on the board and his leadership team.
Right.
And the transformation or the where we really helped, and the thing I saw differently was they were all massively stressed out by the aggressive approach of the senior leadership team. And through the coaching and the conversations we had, as a team, we built together, I called it like this force field, this resilience force field. So they could focus on doing a great job without the stress and without working 15 hours a day and without, so that was a great example of a transformation. In a smaller company, it's normally the owner where the transformation happens.
But which impacts the business.
The business, exactly, because then the people below who want to get on with their job without interference from the boss, because the boss has hired them, the owner has hired them to do a job, but then not letting them get on with it.
Right.
So then they're freed by the owner allowing himself to go, actually, okay, I'm going to spend time focusing on strategy. What's it, quadrant 2 in Stephen Covey's squares, or the Eisenhower matrix, the not urgent but important stuff. That's where you need leaders focusing, not on the urgent and important. That's your team can focus on that.
When someone knows that I'm ready for taking the coaching lessons, because sometimes what happens in your mind, you are doing everything perfect. There are so many blind spots, but they are blind for a reason that you're not aware of them. So how do I know that I'm ready to get coached now?
Frustration.
Right.
An itch that needs scratching. Dissatisfaction.
Right.
So where there's that frustration, there's more, you're capable of more. Maybe you're not happy.
Right.
I spoke to a guy the other day who's looking for coaching, and he's not sure why, but he's just not as fulfilled doing what he was doing. Right. And now he's looking for what he does next, but wants some help on that journey. So I think there's got to be that dissatisfaction, that itch, because typically when we're comfortable, we don't act.
Right. True.
We wait till we're uncomfortable and then we act.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think that's a good opportunity there to have a conversation with a coach.
I love the word you said, happy. I was reading a book from Naval Ravikant. He's a thinker, motivational speaker, and his famous quote is, "If you are so smart, why you are not happy?"
Yeah.
And that was so powerful that, okay, you try to become a smart person, a leader, but somewhere you are not happy, and that's the right time to seek the coaching.
But do you know what I find, Sachin, as well, with some of the more, even people who've been incredibly successful in corporate life or in their own businesses or just in life in general. And one of the things I like to know as a coach, I start with when I'm working with someone, is, where are you going? What does your 5-year and 10-year plan look like? And they'll tell me, I want to have this much money. I want to have this. No. How do you want to be living your life in
Right.
5 years or 10 years' time? And most people don't know.
Mm.
In fact, I would say 9 out of 10 people don't
Right.
know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Where do you want to, what's the journey you're on and where you're going?
Yeah.
Because the challenge is that if you don't know where you're going and the life you want to be leading and the experiences you want to have, how you want to be spending your time with your family or your personal time, and how you want to be giving back as in your career or your professional life.
Right.
If you don't know, then how are you going to make decisions today?
Right.
Because the decisions today will affect where you end up in 5 years or 10 years' time. So that's, I find, and that's one of the things that people like Tony Robbins and all of the great mentors and that's what the great coaches do, is make sure you're clear on where you're going.
True. No, that's so powerful. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm now thinking about all these questions you're asking, right? So all my thinking is towards that, but I need to come back to the podcast. So tell me more about your background, and we'll come back to coaching again. But you served in British Army, if I'm not wrong. You did a phenomenal job with IBM in sales. Tell me about that journey. When exactly you transform into this coaching side of business from corporate?
Yeah, okay. All right. I mean, brief CV.
Yeah.
I wasn't very academic. I left school at 18, really. I started my first job at 19, and I was a typewriter engineer. So I was fixing typewriters. Most people listening and watching this won't know what a typewriter is, but it was golf ball typewriters, and which was a great job when you're 19 years old and you're spending all day with secretaries. It was a fantastic job. And then I got promoted very quickly into a manager's role. So I was managing engineers.
Okay.
And from there, I went in. I then got a bit frustrated in a fixed salary role.
Right. Okay.
So that was why I ended up going into sales. I loved engaging with people. I loved helping people fix problems. And so I moved in sales. And the sales process in IBM is pretty challenging process. It's a 12-week sales school. It's very intense. Not everyone gets through it.
Right.
So it was a great grounding. And then my career in sales went on for the next 20 years where I went, I was a salesperson. I ran big accounts. Then I was a sales director for the UK. And then I was a sales director for Europe.
Right.
And on the way there, I also was a global deal maker as well. So I used to do big deals with global companies. And alongside that, as you said, I joined the Army, so the Army Reserves. So I joined them in 1988, and I was there 12 years. And the last 8 years there, I was a bomb disposal officer. So that was my job, managing a bomb disposal troop. So, and I learned loads about leadership during that. And your answer to your question about coaching, I found throughout my whole life, even when I was a kid, people used to look to me for advice, guidance, steering them in the right direction. So I hadn't really heard of what coaching was. We did mentoring in senior career jobs in IBM. We all had mentees that we were mentoring. But it was Tony Robbins. When I went to a Tony Robbins event, and that was where I found
When
coaching.
was this? Which year you went to the Tony Robbins?
2007.
2007.
And literally straight after that, I'd done some coaching training inside IBM. But I then started charging for coaching. Got my first coaching client while I was still in IBM. It was alongside what I was doing. And my first coaching client was an executive that was looking after France, Italy, and Spain, a sales executive. And I was coaching him to help him be a better leader. And so that was my first paid coaching gig. And we're still friends now, actually. We're still friends now.
And I've seen, again, I have 2-3 questions now based on your answer. One is Tony Robbins workshop, right? So you immediately took some lessons from it and started reacting to it and started working on it. Is it true for your style of executive coaching as well? Typically, when people start seeing the results, is it 3 months, 6 months, immediately? How it works?
There's no exact time scale.
Right.
Because you never know when that breakthrough is going to happen. And it's really fascinating with coaching, and sometimes a little frustrating.
Right.
Because you can get to the end of a coaching session and you think, I don't know whether they got anything out of that. I don't know whether we moved anything forward.
Yeah.
And then they'll message you 2 days later and go, that was the best coaching session ever. I sat down in the evening, I started thinking about what we worked through, and I've made this change in my life.
Right.
So one of the things about you never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it typically happens around, in fact, nearly always around asking the right question at the right time.
Right.
That gets them out of the conscious into the unconscious. So it makes them aware of something that they hadn't realized. So it's typically, but then if you then take the actions, because people can have breakthroughs and then not take actions. So again, you know, I see it as my role is to hold them accountable. So, you know, if you really want to do this, then let's hold you accountable to that, and let's drive that through. You know, and the pure coaches may look at that and go, that's not really coaching. You know, that's not your job. They should own it. But I see it as part of, you know, I want to make sure that people, if they can fulfill their destiny or their potential, then I'm going to help them do it.
Right. And honestly, I think that's where the real value is. I mean, everyone is good as knowledge gathering because it's out there.
Yeah.
With now AI and so on, everything is available, but people don't know how to execute that knowledge. And that's where probably the real value of coach is.
Yeah. I think what you can't do is tell someone how to build a plan. They have to build it. So you have to ask the right questions, get them to build the plan so they own it.
Yeah.
But once they own it and they commit to it, hold them to it.
True.
You know, and I think that's really a key part of coaching. Yeah.
And the second question from that answer is, are there any values which you transform from your experience from British Army to the corporate world? Any learnings, anything which you now use it in your coaching as well?
Not so much in the coaching, except maybe in leadership coaching. So one of the things that the leadership training in the army, because I went through Sandhurst in 1990, so which is one of the best leadership training schools in the world. What's absolutely vital with the way the army works is the leader has a clear mission. Right. This is what we're going to do. This is what I need to do. This is our intention. Yeah. And this is the part I need you to play in that. Right. Now go and work out how to make that happen. So that leadership style, so you as you delegate it down, that chain of command is really valuable in corporate life. So when I'm coaching leaders, what I will ask them, what's the intention? Where do you want to take them? Right. And be really clear. I call it, what does good look like? Yeah. Because too many leaders I coach, I'll say, they'll say, I'm really disappointed with the way one of my managers or VPs is behaving. I say, okay, what did you expect from them? Yeah. Well, I expected this. Did they know that? Well, no, I didn't tell them. I just assumed they would know. Yeah. Right. So then I go, okay, now what would happen if you were really clear and you told them what you were expecting? So be clear on what you want, why you want it, and then how you want everyone to support you in achieving that. Right. And I run 2-day leadership workshops to help organizations with that and get alignment on that. Because if you expect something from someone, but they don't know you expect it, guess what? You're going to be disappointed.
Absolutely. That's the value of communication. So many similarities with the digital transformation program, which I run as part of my job, is the phrase which you mentioned, what good looks like. Oftentimes we start with that, like exactly what we are trying to achieve. What's the problem really? And I can see some similarities in the business coaching and business transformation and executive coachings.
At the end of the day, we're all humans, right? Yeah. And we just, I hate coming back to Tony Robbins, but I'll come back to Tony Robbins. There are 6 human needs, and the 6 human needs are the need for significance. So people need to feel valued. Yeah. They need certainty. So they need to know that they're good at what they do. They need uncertainty. They need variety. Okay. They need to feel part of something. So they need to belong. And so you need to make them feel like they're part of something that is more than just them delivering on a task. Yeah. So they're moving it towards something. And then he calls those the 4 to survive. And then the 2 to thrive are we have to grow. So leaders need to make an environment for their people to grow. Right. Otherwise, they're just not fulfilled. And the final one is about contribution. So it has to be bigger than just us, which leaders can do and organizations can do, but also individuals can make sure they do that as well. But so if leaders understand the 6 human needs, they can get the best out of every human that's out there.
Right. Makes sense. So that's interesting. I mean, I learned something new. I was not aware about 6S. But talking about formulas, you have a famous 7P formula. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy to share that. So actually what I'll do is I'll share the story of how I discovered the 7P formula. Right. And then I'll tell you the 7P formula. So I was doing because I do a lot of extreme events. Yeah. And
what is extreme event?
Okay, so good question. Yeah, it's a bit. So the first time I got into extreme long distance events was the Marathon des Sables, which is a 250-kilometer run in the Sahara Desert. Wow. Self-supported, so you carry everything you need for 6-7 days. You sleep out in the evenings it's not even a tent; it's more of a shelter. Yeah. So that was 2009, and then I went on to do other desert events as well. And in 2015. I entered an event called the Yukon Arctic Ultra, which is a 300-mile non-stop foot race in the Northwest Territories of Canada in February. So on the start line, temperatures were minus 35 degrees centigrade. And the picture on the front of my book, you'll see there's a picture of me there where my eyelashes are white with ice. Okay. And if you blink, your eyes get frozen shut. Yeah. So it's really cold, and you're pulling a sledge with everything you need to survive for 6 days. So food, clothing, tents, that kind of thing. So we started at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and I got to the marathon mark. So we're following the river Yukon. So it's reasonably flat, the first 26 miles. Got there in roughly 6 hours, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, feeling good. Had something to eat, had something to drink, and headed off into the night. And as I went into the first night, I started feeling really, really tired. And I wanted to get to the 50-mile mark around 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. And there was an aid station there at a place called Doggrave Lake. And we were, so going through that night, I was getting really tired and stopping every 2 hours to have a drink. But it was I could feel it was getting cold. And complete silence in that part of it. It's just, with those temperatures, there's no animals moving around. There's no birds. It's just, you can hear your pulk pulling behind you in the snow, and you're just on your own, because there are 40 other competitors, but you're all spread out by that stage. Yeah. So we get to that night, 1 o'clock came, no sign of the 50-mile mark. I had no idea how far I'd gone. Right. And I thought, I have got to do something, because I'm just really exhausted now. And I didn't know why, because 50 miles is not a long way for what I was doing. So I had to make a decision. I made a decision. I was going to put the tent up and stop at the side of the trail, which sounds like a simple thing. Yeah. The reality is, in those conditions, stopping in those temperatures and putting a tent is quite dangerous, because you can get frostbite, you can get cold really quick. But so it took me about an hour to make the decision to do it. I did it, put the tent up, sleeping bag, managed to get 2 hours sleep, 2.5 hours sleep. And I remember waking up and the cold coming in through my neck with this, it was like the fingers of death. It was, and I honestly, at that point, I thought, I don't want to carry on. This is too big, too much. But I'm not that kind of person. So I thought, pull yourself together, get up, get on with it. So I got up, got on. About 10 o'clock the next morning, I got to the 50-mile mark. And when I got there were only 2 or 3 people there. I thought, this is very strange. Where is everyone? I did pass a few tents as I was going to the... Right. I had something to eat, had a drink, and then I headed off into the afternoon. And what I didn't realise, out of that first night, the 40 people who'd started, there were only 6 still going. Wow. Everyone else had pulled out or been evacuated off the course with severe frostbite. Some people lost fingers, toes.
Oh,
It was really bad,
right.
Because it had got down to minus 55 degrees centigrade, so the lowest temperature.
But you were not aware of all this till you
had
reach.
no idea that
Okay.
this had gone on until I got to the 100-mile mark,
Yeah.
actually, because I was on my own.
Hmm.
But I headed into the second night, so this is where the 7Ps come in.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful, the sun was setting, the lake was shining, and I just thought, what is it about my mindset and me that enables me to keep achieving these big goals,
Right.
whether they're physical, personal goals. So I thought, I need to spend time helping others do this. So the next 5 days, and I won that event, so I was the first Brit to win that event.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, I'd come up with this 7P formula. So the 7Ps that I wrote about in the book and all the stories that go with it was, the first one is purpose. Because if you want to achieve, and the book's all about achieving any big goal, and the 7P formula is all about achieving any big goal. So you have to know why you want to achieve it, the purpose. Why is it? Because if you haven't got a reason why, and a strong reason why, then it's going to be really hard to keep going.
Right.
You'll easily give up. And I found there were 2 reasons why. There's an internal and external. The internal reason why is why you're doing it for you, what it's going to give you, how you're going to grow, how you're going to develop, the feelings you're going to have.
Yeah.
And then the external reasons why are, who else is going to benefit from this?
Right.
Who could you help with this?
Yeah.
And those things are much stronger. So the phrase I use is, your internal reasons why will get you to the start line. Your external reasons why will drive you to the finish line. Because we will give up on ourselves long before we'll give up on other people.
So powerful.
It's incredibly powerful. And again, when it comes to coaching and you're searching for why people's goals, why is that important to you? And why is that important to you now? And who else would benefit from that? And if you can get down to that, then you can really help. So the second P is all about preparation.
Right.
And what I learned in the military and everything I've done sporting wise is specific preparation, not general preparation. So for the Arctic, I flew out to the Alps, I climbed up in the mountains, I got in the snow, and I did preparation in the environment. Because if you just do preparation in the UK on a sunny day, it's not going to help you.
Right.
So preparation, planning is the third P. So you've got to have a plan that you've built and you believe in. Although what they teach you at Sandhurst is no plan survives contact with the enemy.
Okay.
Which is true. So my plan did change as soon as I stepped over the start line, but I still had a plan.
Right.
So you have to have a plan and have a pretty structured plan and chunk it down into, because 300 miles is a long way and it's overwhelming. So you've got to chunk your plan down into things you can get your head around. So then pledge is the fourth P. Okay. And that's where you make a commitment to yourself. So as I was walking up to the start line of that event, my head was down, I was looking at the floor and I was uncertain. This is too big. I'm not sure I can do this. This is a long way. It's really cold. But as soon as you step over that start line, your chest comes up, your eyes go up, your head goes up. I must finish this. This is who I am. I don't stop. I don't give up. I must. So you turn a might into a must, and that's the pledge to yourself. Right. The fifth P is perception. Because once you're going, you've got to be aware of what you're getting. So are you getting the results you expected? Are you going, the analogy of a plane's constantly adjusting its direction until it lands is absolutely true. So you've got to be perceptive. So I had to adjust. So my plan was to walk for 2.5 hours, then stop for 10 minutes. And I found that was too long. So I did 2 hours and I stopped for 10 minutes, 2 hours, stopped for 10 minutes. And I ended up chunking the race down into 2 hour chunks until the last night. The last night I got into 15-minute chunks because I was so exhausted. So your perception, be aware of what you're getting and adjust the plan accordingly. Don't just keep going in the wrong direction.
It's so important.
In business as well.
Because people make the plan and just stick to it for the sake of sticking to it and end up failing it. Yeah,
because and some of that's ego. I don't want to accept I'm wrong. The best business owners are the ones who are constantly being perceptive to the feedback they're getting from their customers, their teams, from their suppliers, and then adjusting accordingly. Right. So, The sixth P is about pain, which is a strange one to have, but pain means there's going to be pain on the journey. Whatever your big, if you've chosen a big goal, there's going to be pain on that journey. If there isn't pain, it's not a big enough goal. Right? So it's going to be hard. You're going to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. You're going to challenge yourself. So you need a pain strategy. And that's what the P is. It's the pain strategy. So great. A couple of examples of that are, I think it was the fourth morning, maybe the fifth morning, I was feeling really low, really, really tired, depressed. And I had an old-fashioned iPod in my pocket here. Okay. And the reason I had it here was to keep it warm, because in those temperatures, batteries run flat. And I hadn't used it, and it was a break glass when you're feeling bad. And I was feeling bad that morning, so I got it out, put my headphones in, and the first song that came up was Katrina and the Waves, Dancing on Sunshine, or whatever that song is. And honestly, it just lifted me up. So that's a pain strategy.
Right. But you're telling me that till that time you did not even have any headphones?
No.
Wow.
I was just focused on doing the task.
Right.
And there are other pain strategies. I talk about cheerleaders. Who are the people you can phone when you need to? And then the final P is just persistence. Because if you persevere, if you persist, you will not fail. Because you only fail if you give up. You just haven't found a way yet. So just keep persevering. So those are the 7 Ps,
That's so fascinating. I mean, I feel like this is my personal coaching session more than podcast. But which one P you see a lot of business leaders are lacking nowadays? Where you need to improve a lot?
That's a great question. I think it differs from corporate to small business.
Right.
I would say purpose is probably the one that people need to do more work on. Maybe not as an individual, but as a team.
Got it.
So when I run the leadership events with a team, one of the things I'll ask is, what's your North Star? What's the direction you're all going in?
Right.
So that's the first thing. Firstly, do you know what your North Star is and where you're going? The second thing is, why are you going there? And the leader might say, well, because we want to have an equity event in 3 years' time and we want to sell the business or we want to float the business. Okay. That's a reason why. But what's the reason why for the team in the room here? So there might all be shareholders. Okay, so why is the equity event important to you? Because having a load of cash is one thing, but what are you going to do with it? What's that mean to you in your life? So really get down to the real reason why. And share it with the team so that everyone in the team knows why it's important to you that you're doing
Which is often not the case in corporate, right?
Very rarely. Well, I was running a sales team in the UK back in the 2000s. And funny enough, I came back from the Tony Robbins event and I sat down with my team and I said, right, guys, we're doing it all wrong. I said, I give you a target and then I measure you against achieving that target. We're not doing that anymore. I said, I want you to tell me your target. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, tell me how much you want to earn this year. In fact, no, forget that. Tell me what you want to build in your life this year. So how much money do you need to achieve what you want to achieve in your life? Now look at the sales incentive plan and now tell me what your target is.
Right.
And so they all set their own target. And guess what? Their targets were much bigger than the targets the company had set. And then, so one of them wanted to buy a yacht. Another one wanted to do an extension on their house. So when we did our sales reviews, we reviewed them on how you're doing against your extension. How are you doing against your yacht?
That's fascinating.
Not against how you're doing against this target that the company's given you.
Right.
And guess what? That year, and everyone listening to this who will remember that year, we came in at a number as an organization. Because I had 60, 80 salesmen at the time. So it was a big number, salespeople at the time. We came in at like 180%. And the last 10 years, this particular organization had done like 100%, 100%, wow. 100%, 100%. And it was phenomenal. And some people came in at 300% of the number when the highest before had been like 120%. And it was just this mindset of, it's about what this does for me, the why, the purpose.
Why?
So that would be my first answer. I think the The second answer about businesses and the 7 Ps is probably the pain strategy.
Right.
I don't think there's enough recognition of the need to have resilient strategies, mentors, coaches, people that you can go to help reduce that stress or help you through some of those blocks when the pain happens.
Makes sense. I mean, that seems to be like the weakest link, right? That's the point of failure, which can happen. If you don't know how to manage the pain, you can easily lose the path of everything what you are doing.
Yeah, or you bury your head in the sand. You know, you give up, or you take it out on your team, and then they give up. You know, so if you've got having a pain strategy you've thought about in advance,
right?
And I do work on it with some of my clients as well. Is, you know, what's the song that you're going to put on in the car when you leave the office to transform you from work mode to home mode?
Right.
Or what's the song you're going to listen to as you pull up to your driveway? Or what are you going to do before you get home? You know, the walk you're going to have, or when you get home, what are you going to do to completely transform that mindset? What's the pain strategy for when you've had a bad day? How are you going to make sure because at the end of the day, it's just work.
Yeah.
Leave it in the office and get on with your life.
That's fascinating. I mean, my own, now that I know the term, I'm going to use it. My pain strategy is meditation. So I go home from work, 10 minutes. Now I'm at a stage where I can do it without any guidance, like not the guided one.
Yeah.
I can sit calmly and do it for 10 minutes, and it transforms me into a family mode from a corporate mode.
Fantastic.
Tell me one technique which anybody can follow from today that will help them get to their goals. I know it's a very vague question, but any tip which people just don't know what they should start doing?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got loads of answers to that. Firstly, be clear on what your goals are, and don't hold back. You know, I messaged someone yesterday who I was talking to and said, look, just dream.
Yeah.
Dream and write all your goals down. Everything you want to achieve in your life. Everything you want to, and then what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? You know, what would make you feel alive and fulfilled in the next 12 months? So firstly, you've got to know what you want, and don't hold back. We can achieve so much more than we think we can. And don't give me time as an excuse. Okay. Time is just a lie we tell ourselves. We haven't got enough time. Honestly, it's not true. It's we choose what we do with our time.
Yeah.
Now I get it if you've got young children, if you've got travel into London, but there's always time.
Right.
There's always an opportunity to leverage your time better, because in a week we waste so much.
Yeah. True.
So firstly, be clear, dream, and then I'm a big fan of vision boards, massive fan of vision boards. And I've had vision boards for years, because it's no good writing down your goals and then putting them in a cupboard and not seeing them.
Right.
So you've got to see your goals every day, and visually it stimulates a different part of the brain. Yeah. So writing them down is logical, and writing them physically by hand with a pen is really important, because it connects the brain with the feel. And then visually, so find pictures. Find pictures of what you want to have, or the experiences you want to have, or people you love and the experiences you want to have with them. Right. The amount of money you want to have. Find a picture of that, you know, a check that's got that number on it, or a pile of money, and write the number over it. But make it visual. And either what I've done in the past is just take lots of pictures and put them into a PowerPoint slide, and then that's my screensaver. And then I print it out and it's pinned up around the house. And what I started this year, which came from listening to a podcast with a intelligence officer from the army in the US Army. And so he used to do interrogations. And one of his specialities was brainwashing prisoners. Okay. Now, I'm not sure that's legal, but he was telling the story about brainwashing prisoners. Yeah. And they used to do that by having photographs coming up in front of the prisoners. Yeah. They said, if you want to achieve any goal, create a slideshow of
Right.
photos of your goals.
Yeah.
And you know those frames, they're digital frames?
Yeah.
Get a digital frame with
And
a
keep
USB,
them. Oh,
and then
okay.
just, so next to my desk at home
Yeah.
is this slideshow of all the goals I want to achieve this year.
Right.
And honestly, it is so powerful. I have achieved so much this year because I'm reminded of it every morning. Because
Correct.
I have it when I'm doing because I meditate in the morning. I
Yeah.
have it in front of me before I go into meditation.
Right.
I do some yoga before I do meditation. So it's there in front of me.
Yeah.
It's there on my desk during the day. So I'm seeing these goals and I think, actually, yeah, one of the goals was I wanted to see the pyramids. I've never seen them. It's been on my goals list for years.
Right.
And it kept coming up. And then I noticed something on Instagram, which was a runner I follow. And she was doing a half marathon in the pyramids in December last year. And I thought, actually, why don't I just enter that? So I went online and I entered it with my wife. So we're going out in December to see the pyramids and run a half marathon. And that goal would not have happened if I wasn't seeing it every single day.
Right.
So, there's a few tips there. So firstly, be clear on your goals.
Yeah.
Then, and write them down, dream big, and then visualize them through a vision board and a screen show.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. And so many, I can join so many dots here, right? You mentioned about don't hold back. So I'm a trained professional on negotiations. And one of the things which we were taught is self-negotiating. So a lot of time we end up self-negotiating. That client will not pay me this much. No way they are going to have this much budget, or this supplier will never give me discount, and so on. A lot of time what I've seen when people write the goals, they have so many self-negotiating guide rails, right? How do you stop doing that? Because at that time, it looks logical.
Yeah, so there are techniques for getting you out of your left brain into your right brain. That's kind of what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because what you're describing there are limiting beliefs, and most of the limiting beliefs are the logical beliefs that come up. I can't leave my job now because I've got to put kids through school and I've got a mortgage and I know, so I can't take a risk. I hear that regularly. The reality is, once you drill into it, and it's just something they're saying to themselves, and what you say to yourself regularly, affirmations that you say to yourself, trains your brain, it trains your unconscious mind.
Right.
So if you want to dream big, firstly, a couple of simple things. Get out in nature, go for a walk, go and breathe the air, go and look at the trees, and take things in, because then you're engaging your right brain. Go into an environment that isn't your office or isn't somewhere where you do the logical stuff.
Right.
And just take the best analogy is like a kid writing their Christmas list. When you're 8, 9 years old and you're writing your Christmas list, there's no limits. Just give yourself permission. There's no limits. Don't bring logic. Don't think about the how. Forget the how. The how will take care of itself if it's important. So don't worry about the how. Just think about the what. What is it you want to do? What are all the amazing things you want to have happen to you?
Right.
And when I write goals down, I normally do it at the beginning of the year, because I find that I've got that period of time. I haven't got any client work. I've got 2 weeks to myself, and I'll write goals and do a vision board. And I might not. So if I achieve 80% of my goals in the year, that's a great year.
That's still better than 0% when people don't write it.
Yeah. Right. And if you don't have that, because one of the things is so true in life, and people have to know this, is if you don't set goals for your life, other people will.
That's so powerful.
Other people will. If you don't set goals for your career, other people will. You'll either be influenced by the people you spend time with,
right,
and that could be positive or it could be negative.
Yeah.
So if you're mixing with people who are playing a lower game than you want to play, they're going to hold you down.
True.
So you need to mix with people who are playing a higher game. So when you're clear on where you want to go and set a plan for then you're in control.
Right.
And that's liberating.
Right. How do you manage that? You mentioned something about people around you, right? Sometimes when you try to move from like first orbit to second orbit in life,
Yeah.
there's so many factors which you're used to it.
Mm.
Maybe it's people, maybe it's the place, maybe it's the company. How do you break that barrier?
Yeah, it's a good question. I like the analogy of orbit because it is an orbit, and it's a higher orbit, which
Right.
is more rarefied,
Yeah,
which means there's less people there.
true.
And because there's lots of people in the first orbit,
Yeah,
and that's typically 95% of the population without goals,
yeah,
and they're just going through life, and someone else is driving their life. I think firstly, you've got to be clear on what you want. You've got to make that, and the purpose has got to be strong. And then the pledge, I guess the fourth P is pledge to yourself that I am going if I'm going to make a difference in my life, it has to be me.
right.
So I am going to break out of this orbit and go and find people who are spending time and finding people might be going to a seminar where there are people who are thinking in this crazy way of controlling life and having goals and stuff like that. I think so go and find that tribe that you want to spend time with.
Right.
Because one of the things that's so true is if you're the best player in your tennis club, you're never going to get any better.
Right.
So you've got to go and find a tennis club where you're the worst player, and then you're going to grow.
Right. I love how everything is joined together. You mentioned about Tony Robbins, which is one of my favorite. I won't say motivational speaker because he's so much more.
He hates being called that.
Yeah, he's a transformation guy or whatever we can call it. Tennis is my favorite game. I play tennis regularly, and you mentioned the analogy. So it's I truly believe all the dots connect somewhere.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I want to ask you one question. How do you convince someone to get executive coaching? Because oftentimes you see people around you and you kind of recognize it will be so good if he or she goes for certain coaching. How do you convince them?
That's a difficult one. That is a difficult one. Because there's an old Chinese proverb, which is when the student is ready, a teacher will appear.
Right, yeah.
And if the student isn't ready, you can't force a teacher on them.
Right.
And I had an experience last year where an executive in a company saw some issues with their boss.
Right.
And said to me, I think my boss needs some leadership coaching, some executive coaching. And he convinced him to have a conversation with me. So I had a conversation and we did start doing some coaching.
Right.
But it always felt like he was going to try and prove his exec wrong, that he didn't need exec coaching.
Right.
And it was, there were a few transformations, a few aha moments, a few things, but it always felt like I was pushing water uphill with this guy. And so I think if you want to convince someone of anything, you've got to help them see what the value is going to be.
Right.
Same as with selling. You've got to help them see what the value would be to them of engaging in that investment. I always say coaching is an investment.
True.
Don't go into coaching
Correct.
and see it as a cost.
Correct.
Go into coaching and see it as an investment and be clear on the investment you want to get out the other side of it.
Yeah. I think people want to quickly achieve ROI, like what's my return, or try to get for free. I mean, people don't realize the importance of it. Like it's like signing up to gym. It's like, getting good food. You need to pay first. There are no free lunches, but somewhere people don't recognize the importance of it.
So it's an interesting, because someone asked me a question not so long ago, which was, how would you behave differently if you were paying £100,000 a year for coaching?
Right.
And I thought, if I was paying £100,000 a year for coaching, I would make sure that I got a return out of that, and I would transform my career, my life. So there is an argument in the coaching circle that actually the amount you charge affects the transformation.
Okay.
So if you charge too small,
then
you're going to get small transformations. you charge bigger, the mindset of the person you're coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an argument. I'm not going to say I necessarily subscribe. I subscribe to it to a degree.
Yeah.
I think some people take it a little bit too far.
Right. No, but I do agree that, I mean, I love the McKinsey techniques, the McKinsey management consulting. They are not cheaper, and they are really proud of that, right? Because there is a price to it, there is a value attached to the price, and that's why they are seen as expensive. So I see a merit in that argument as well.
It's like buying a BMW or Mercedes, or whatever. You're spending more money, you expect the value.
Yeah. We are coming to the end of podcast. I'm really conscious of time. You traveled so far in Reading. In the hottest day, probably. I'm sweating like anything.
Yeah, I'm very hot as well. But it's been an absolute pleasure coming to this as well.
Right. So, few last questions. Talk us about your podcast, your books, and how people can reach out to you.
Okay, it's very kind to ask that. So the podcast that we do, and I do with a colleague, Albert, is called The Leadership Detectives.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things I decided during COVID. I was sitting in the sunshine in the garden, and I had this moment of thought, this is a great opportunity to help develop leaders.
Yeah.
So the Leadership Detectives is there to uncover clues of great leadership.
Yeah.
And we interview leaders, and we just talk about leadership techniques and skills to help emerging leaders and existing leaders basically be better leaders. So that's the Leadership Detectives podcast. There's a couple of books of mine on Amazon. There's You Can, which is the 7P formula for achieving any big goal. That's a story about my journey through the Arctic and what I learned there, which again, it's great to help the people who want to achieve big goals. And I've also got a sales training about value selling. So those are my. And if people want to find out more about me, then just neilthubron.com.
Right. Thank you so much, Neil. This is so insightful episode. I'm going to rewatch it again because I need to decode a few things and think over it. But thank you so much for spending the time.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for asking such great questions as well. Great to see you.
Thanks.
Thank you.